What's up, YouTube, and welcome to another episode of the Upland Show. Happy to be back. There was some massive updates that Upland just announced, and we're not sure if you caught all of them. We are going to be making probably our next 3 or 4 videos. We're going to break out covering all the differences of these awesome announcements that were just made, all in a single post on the Upland website. So let's jump into the first one. This one's related to property earnings adjustment. So if you didn't know, Upland, what you earn on your properties, if McSqueeb goes and mints a random property in Upland, right now the game will pay you in interest earnings on that property, 17.3% interest.
And that's the minimum, right? That's the minimum. Because
that's if you don't put it in a collection.
Yeah, because what you're saying is that any property at the very lowest you would have earned at least a 17%. Now, if you put it into a collection, then it's boosted. But at the very least, you get 17%, correct? If
you mint it. If you buy it on the secondhand market, you could be paying. So let's say if you pay 2x of what someone minted that for. So let's say someone paid 10,000 UPIX for a property.
Right.
They're earning 17.3% interest on that. If you buy it from that person, you now paid 2x, and you bought it for 20,000 UPIX, so you paid double. You got to do the math there. That means your interest is now half of 17.3%.
Okay, so you're still receiving 17.3% interest based on the mint price.
On the mint price.
Okay, gotcha. All right, that makes sense. So yeah, if you buy something on the secondhand market for 500 times what the mint price is,
pretty much useless from an interest earnings standpoint.
Right. Unless you can put it into a collection, like it's a rare or an ultra rare.
Exactly.
Or something like that. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Sorry.
So that amount, the base interest amount, is now dropping from 17.3% to 14.7%. So that is, we went on calculatorsoup.com, and here, let's share the screen here.
Our corporate sponsor.
I wasn't sharing it. So yeah, in the post they said 14.7% is the new one, and it was 17.3%. So that represents a 15% decrease. So, I mean, let's do the math. So if you don't know how to check this, I can check mine really quick. You go to open the menu here, click properties in the menu, and then you can see your UPIX per month. So mine's right now 2,500,000. So that's going to have a 15% decrease. I'm not that quick of a mathematician, but I mean, that's going to be pretty significant of a drop, right?
Yeah, I mean, you'll probably a couple 100,000 less.
Yeah, I'll be a lot closer down to just like 2 million instead of 2.5 million. Yeah. So, I mean, it is going to sting a little bit if that's all you're banking on, you know. But at the same time, I mean, what are your thoughts overall about this? Do you think it's the right call? I mean, I honestly think 17% is pretty, like, nothing really pays that. So obviously the economy can't really sustain that kind of prices, right?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, is just that, you know, obviously nobody wants to see the returns be cut. As a user, you don't want to have that interest be lower than what it was, obviously. But, you know, given, like you said, the economy within the game has to be sustainable long term. And so you just have to put faith in the team, I guess. You just have to have faith in the team that this decision will ultimately benefit the game long term. You know, if you look at the Federal Reserve or the Fed, you know, in the United States, they change rates, you know, to stimulate the economy, to protect the economy, and sometimes it's advantageous to the individual citizen, and sometimes it's not. So, you know, they could raise it. Perhaps Upland will eventually raise it to stimulate more purchases or whatever.
So
But-
that's a good point that you bring up. They actually did say to ensure the health of the economy, these values may be adjusted up, down, or unchanged
Right.
on a regular basis, starting with a quarterly review process based on market conditions and economic activity.
Yep.
Long term, the Upland team plans to delegate this authority to an independent third party to ensure the fairness of UPIC's distribution.
Well, that's very
That's
interesting.
pretty cool, right?
Yeah, I mean, I wonder what that independent third party might be. But so I love that. I love that statement because that just validates kind of what we're saying, that it's possible it could go back up. I mean, when you see that this interest gets cut, your initial response is, there we go again. There's just an organization who wants to maximize profits. Now that they've gotten us in with this lure of 17.3% interest payments, now they're cutting it back so they can maximize their profits. With that statement, though, that you just read there, LOYLDOYL, that tells me that it's less about, this change is less about, trying to maximize profits for the game, and it's more about trying to maintain the health of the economy. And so that's interesting that they're willing to delegate that authority to an independent third party to ensure that fairness of UPIC's distribution. I think that's actually quite cool. And ideally, that third party will be releasing any type of audit reports, and maybe even economy reports would be nice. I don't think we expect, or anyone should expect, Upland to reveal their entire cost structure, or their balance sheet or whatever. That's their business. But I think it would be cool if there was more economic reports, distributed to the shareholders, if you will, which are all of us.
And I know that they run everything off of a community pool, so it's not like they're making UPICs out of thin air. I know that there's a community pool that exists that you can look up on the blockchain. Sorry, we don't have that number for you right now, but I think it's like in the billions right now that can be redistributed, whether that's through giveaways or different things. And that's why every time you buy and sell a property, there's fees associated with it. Like, the Upland game is not making any money off charging fees. They're taking that fee in a sell to then redistribute in like interest gains and things like that. And these types of payouts all are out of that pool. So
Cool.
It's meant to be like a self-funded,
Very cool.
or self-generating economy that way.
Cool.
So I also think there could be a few other implications from this. I think long term, if we see a significant drop in interest, that it could make the really high value collections even more valuable, because people want those really high boosts, right? They're going to be wanting the ones that can pay out.
Right. The demand will be greater for anything that can fit in the collection.
Because let's say it drops to 5%, you're going to want the one that's like a 3x boost to be getting 15% instead of just 5% like everybody else.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I think I think we'll see some cool economic long-term outcomes from this, and it'll be exciting to watch. We will definitely keep you posted as we get these updates from the Upland show. Yeah.
I would also just add that eventually, maybe you know a little bit about this, but I would suspect, I just wonder if there will be other opportunities to boost that percentage. For example, as you build a structure on a property, does that then give you a 0.01% increase in your interest?
That would be cool. The
'Cause
size of the building on it maybe could give a minor boost to that, not just it being in a collection.
Yeah, or maybe if your property for whatever reason attracts so many visitors, maybe there's the visitor threshold as well, where you could earn a little bit more or an increased interest. To me, that's more interesting, because then that gives me incentive to do certain things with my properties, you
Yep.
know, rather than just sit there and hold on them because all of it's going to be the exact same 14.7%. You know, I would like to see, you know, some additional options made available to property holders to manipulate that interest payment based on property activity or property, you know, attractiveness beyond just the collection. So
that's a great point. That is a great point. We're excited to see what the Upland team brings to us and more news in the future, more updates as the economy continues to grow and develop and get more advanced.
Yep.
There's so many awesome things coming, and the economy is changing. And this update happened because of MetaVentures. There's businesses coming into Upland that's causing the need for economic changes and new features. And so stay tuned for the next few videos because we'll be covering some of these other updates. So we hope to see you in the next one. Peace out.